And to lose two family members in such a short space of time
7 days.
really tragic for all of you, for your family, for any family. And because I think of you as my family as well. And so I'm also feeling your loss in that respect. Yeah, very, very sad. Of course, there have been many, many deaths with this coronavirus around the world, but up until this point, there was nobody that I knew. This is the first time with Advaita Priya Prabhu. This is the first time that it's actually somebody who I know. Until now, it was numbers in the news. And so, yeah, this is very, very sad and painful, and then you've lost two family members, and you're all doctors as well. So you would hope that as doctors that you can help, but when the time comes, then yeah, all of those precautions that we have suddenly, or those talents that we have, when the time comes, then we cannot resist nature's pull and nature's laws. And it's hard to accept. It's hard to accept when this happens to us. But I guess your consolation in a moment like this is knowing that your father was a devotee. I'd never met Ganesham, but his name sounds like he's a devotee as well. A name of the Lord. And if you're hearing a name like that through your entire life, then you must be a devotee as well. I don't know him, so but I know that your family are all Vaishnavas. And when, I'm sure you've been remembering this, that when Prahlad Maharaj was asked by Narasimhadev if he would take any boon, to request a boon, and Prahlad said, well, I'm worried about my father. And Nrsimhadev said, your father is fine. You are a devotee. And so 7 generations before and after you will all be delivered. That's a difficult one for Prahlad Maharaj, because 7 generations before him actually don't exist. It goes Hiranyakashipu, and then Kashyapa, and then Brahma, and then Vishnu. So where does it go before that? So I've thought about that question. And I think it also goes out sideways. So 7 generations before, after, but with sideways relations as well. And then you can get your 7.
Your special mercy.
Yeah, that's right. And Narasimhadev said that this doesn't count as a blessing or as a boon. You asked me for something else, because this one is already settled. Your father will be delivered. Your family members will be delivered. And so, yeah, because so we know Advaita Priya Prabhu, we know these people anyway on their own merit, they will be delivered, because there's a lifetime of devotion there. But even if that were not there, the fact that they have such a big family of Vaishnavas, then they're also covered that way. Whether it's going horizontally or vertically, they're covered because there's so many Vaishnava family members who will continue and who will continue to practice bhakti. And so, yeah, in so many ways, then the Lord is sure to give his mercy. There was a family member of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya who, he was not a Vaishnava. And his name was Amoga, so he was the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He was not a Vaishnava, and he was actually offensive. He was a fault finder. So he knew that Lord Chaitanya was coming to his father-in-law's house, and so he was going to find some fault in Lord Chaitanya. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya knew his mentality, so he was standing at the door with a stick to make sure this son-in-law doesn't come into the house. And then Lord Chaitanya arrived. So Sarvabhauma was busy serving Lord Chaitanya, and this Amoga, he came into the house and he saw the prasad on Lord Chaitanya's plate. And he said, sannyasi, see how much he's eating. He made this comment, and Sarvabhauma became so upset with him that he's in my house, offending my Lord and finding fault and criticizing. So he chased him. And Amoga ran far. He ran very, very far, very quickly. Sarvabhauma couldn't catch him. And he came back to Chaitanya and he begged Lord Chaitanya, please forgive me. Please, my own family have offended you in this house. Please, please forgive us. And Chaitanya, he was not offended. But Sarvabhauma and his wife, her name was Satimata. Not Sachimata, but Satimata, because they had a daughter named Sati. They were very, very devastated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been offended in their house. And they were so sorry, so sad. And Chaitanya, he left, he was not upset by this. And but Sarvabhauma, he said that my daughter should become a widow. Do you know this? And Satimata as well. She said they said, let our daughter be a widow. And Sarvabhauma even told his daughter, he said, you should leave him because he is an offender of the Supreme Lord. And afterwards, this man, Amoga, he became ill with cholera. And he was dying. And when Lord Chaitanya heard it, he ran to that place where Amoga was on his deathbed. And Lord Chaitanya held his heart. So you are doctors, you will appreciate this procedure that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uses. He holds Amoga's heart and he says to him, Amoga, why do you allow jealousy in this place where you should invite the Lord to reside? And then he said to him, Amoga, you get up and you chant the holy name. And Amoga, he was dying, but he got up by Lord Chaitanya's command and he chanted, and in that moment people saw that he was shedding tears of love. He was chanting and crying and his hair was standing on end. And in that moment, he became a pure Vaishnava. So then Lord Chaitanya went to Sarvabhauma's house and said to him, you must forgive Amoga. He says, you must forgive him. He is your son, and sometimes sons make mistakes, but the parents will always forgive their children. And so he is your son, you must forgive him. And Sarvabhauma is still holding his anger. And then Lord Chaitanya said to him, and he's a Vaishnava. And a Vaishnava must be forgiven. And then Lord Chaitanya said, he said, anyone who is a family member of yours, Sarvabhauma, is dear to me. Anyone who is your family member is very dear to me. And this Amoga, even though you are angry with him, he is very dear to me because of all of you are very dear to me. And so, yeah, you see Lord Chaitanya's love here for his devotee, but then this love extends out to others as well. And so your family are all Vaishnava, they're all devotees, they're all Vaishnavas. It's such a wonderful family, and that's one of the reasons why so many devotees love your family. And because of that love that devotees have for your family, Krishna also has that love for your family. And so it's unfortunate, the COVID-19, the situation of their passing, you weren't even able to be there when they're passing. So I'm sure that gives you much sadness that your doctors and then you're their sons and you just couldn't be there. You couldn't help them in that final moment. So that must really break your hearts.
Ruji, I just want to clarify. My father
Yeah.
left because of the heart attack, and
Right.
uncle left because of the COVID.
Okay. All right.
Even though some of us were infected, my father, until the last moment, even the even all the tests done few hours before his departure
Yeah.
showed no signs of COVID, even though he was the
Okay.
eldest, and
Okay.
he only came 3 weeks back from India and all the
Okay.
travels and all that. So he
Yeah.
was the most likely candidate for the virus, but
Yeah.
somehow showed no sign, no infection at all.
Okay. Well,
But
that's good
the
to know.
uncle, I just want to share one more thing. In
Yeah.
this pastime, same pastime where Lord Chaitanya declares about even the dog is
Yeah.
very
Very good.
close to
Yeah.
my heart, where
Yeah.
where devotees in relation to something like that, right?
That's right. Yeah. Very good. That's right. Yeah. Excellent. So it extends even to the pets and yeah, the animals. So yeah, you should have full assurance of that they've gone to a better place. They've gone well. The promise of Krishna, those who they'll come back to me. Krishna makes that promise throughout the Bhagavad Gita, and so yeah, you can have that assurance, and you should be, yes, you'll be sad and you'll be lamenting, but you should also be peaceful and peaceful of Krishna's assurance and peaceful of Krishna's protection and love for your departed family members. I thought to chant the Ishopanishad with you. Would you like that?
Yes, Prabhu, please. Thank you.
Have you chanted the Ishopanishad in these days?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
Actually, my brother wanted to chant, and he wanted to get the Gujarati copy of it. And I think it was few days before my father's departure or something. Like he had this desire to do it in Gujarati, like translation.
Okay.
And there is a Gujarati version also, like
Okay.
from BBT. But
Yeah.
we would love that. Yes.
So yeah, somehow it must be that there was that desire that will was there, and it inspired me. And I thought when I was connecting with you, I thought, let me find the Ishopanishad and chant it. Chant it for you, and I'll chant the Sanskrit and then read Prabhupada's translations as well, because there are the prayers for the departed devotee.
Yeah, Prabhu.
So I'll chant with the Svara, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Ishyavasyamidagam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagate Tena Tyaktena Bunjita Magridhakasvasvidhanam Kurvaneveha Karmani Jijivisechatagam Samaha Evam Tvainanyate Tostina Karma Lipyate Nare Asuryana Mate Loka Andena Tamasapritaha Tagam ste pritya vigachanti ye kechahat mahano janaha ane jare kammanaso javi yonaina deva apnuvam purvam arsate tadhavato yan atye titishtat tasme napo mahatarishvadarati Tare jati tanne jati tadhure tadvantike tarantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha yastu sarvani bhutani yatmanye vanupasyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato navijugupsate Yasmin sarvani bhutan yatmaiva bhudvijanatah tatra ko moha ko shoka ekatvamanupashyatah saparyagach chukrama karyamavranamashna viragam sudamapapa vidham Avir Manishi Paribu Swayambhu Yata Tat Yatortan Yararach Chasvatibhya Samabhyaham Andantama Pravisyanti Ye Vidyamupasate Tato Bhuya Ivate Tamoya U Vidyaya Gamrataha Anyadeva Hurvidyayanyada Huravidyaya Iti Shrushrumadira Naye Nastaravicha Chakshire Vidyam cha Yastadavedo Bahyagam Saha Avidyayam Rityum Tirtva Vidyayam Ritamasnute Andantamapravisyanti ye sambhutimupasate Tato bhuya ivate tamoya u sambhutya gamrataha Anyadevahur sambhavat anyadahura sambhavat iti shrushrumadhira naye nastadavicha chakshire Tambhutim cha vinasam cha yastadavedo bahyagam saha vinasena mrityum tirtva sambhutya mritamasnute hiranmayena patrena satyasyapi hitam mukham tattvam poshanna pavrinu Satyam dhamaya dristaye Pushane karase yamasurya Prajapatnya vyuharasmin Samuhate joyate Rupam kalyanatamam Tate pasyami Yosau vaso purusha Sohamasmi Vayuranilam amritamate basmantagam sariram om krato smarakritagam smara krato smarakritagam smara agnenaya supataraye asman vishvani deva vayunani vidvan Yuyodhyasmajjuhuranameno bhuyistam te nama uktim vidhema. Okay, so I see you're following along there with the book.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have English or Gujarati or what do you have
English,
there?
English. We were
English.
doing it on the Veda base.
You're reading in English. So
Yes.
maybe we can take turns reading the translations. So I'll read the first one and then you can take over from there. Translation, invocation. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are all perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance.
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong.
One may aspire to live for hundreds of years, if he continuously goes on working in that way. For that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man.
Mantra 3. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planets known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance.
Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him, Although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain, he surpasses all in excellence.
The Supreme Lord
The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is outside of everything. Amazing.
Asta, you want to read? You have. Okay, she is our niece in India, Gandhinagar, Gujarat,
Okay.
and she has been taking over from 12 to 4 time, which is night time for us. So she's still there with us. Go ahead, Asta.
Right.
He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being.
one who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, including one Lord, true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for?
Such a person must factually know the greatest of all, the personality of Godhead, who is unembodied, omniscient, beyond reproach, without veins, pure and uncontaminated, the self-sufficient philosopher who has been fulfilling everyone's desire since the time immemorial.
Those who engage in the culture of nascent activities shall enter into the darkest religion of ignorance. Darkest region of the ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge.
The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience.
Only one can learn the process of nescience, and that a transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death. They enjoy the full blessings of immortality.
Immortality. Very nice, Dhruv.
The youngest boy in the house.
Well done. Excellent.
Asta? Asta, you want to go?
Yeah, good.
Oh, she's muted.
No, she's the host.
Oh.
Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, and still more, so do the worshippers of the impersonal Absolute.
Yes.
It is said that one result is obtained by worshipping the Supreme, cause of all causes, and that another result is obtained by worshipping that what is not supreme. All this is heard from the undisturbed authorities who clearly explained it.
One should know perfectly the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna and his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, as well as the temporary material creation with its temporary demigods, man and animals. When one knows this, he surpasses death and the ephemeral cosmic manifestation with it. And in the eternal kingdom of God, he enjoys his eternal life of bliss and knowledge.
O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee.
O my Lord, O primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, O regulating principle, destination of the pure devotees, well-wisher of the progenitors of mankind, please remove the effulgence of your transcendental rays so that I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal personality of Godhead, like unto the sun, as am I.
That's the oldest of the grandson, Hari.
Oh, well done. Nice to hear you, Hari.
Before that, it was Brinda.
Right. I assumed it. I could hear the voice. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be there. Okay. Let this temporary body be burnt to the ashes, and let the air of life he be merged with the totality of air. Now, Lord, now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you.
O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you, and since you know all that I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress.
Thank you all for that reading of the 18 verses of the Ishopanishad. So we're reading this because particularly the final verses, you see the prayers of the devotee who is about to depart from this world. And he's making a plea to Krishna that that he can be led he can be led back to Godhead. So, but the other verses beforehand, they set the scene for that. We don't know who this devotee is who's making these prayers. The Upanishad doesn't reveal to us the identity of that person who is making these prayers. But they are relevant to anyone who is a practitioner of bhakti. And so we can all identify with these prayers, and we can also remember them and take solace in them at the time of the devotee's departure from this world. So I'd like to just quickly go over and offer some comments on these different verses that you have read, that we have read together. The first, based on Prabhupada's own comments, but it might be nice for us to just get some clarity around what it is that we have been reading in the Ishopanishad. So the first verse, the invocation, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate, describes Krishna as the complete whole. The source was the complete whole from whom so many complete emanations appear. And each one of them, each of these emanations, they are complete in and of themselves. That word complete appears many, many times in that verse. They are complete in and of themselves. Nonetheless, Krishna remains the complete balance. And Prabhupada's purport to this verse is most wonderful. He explains how so many universes emanate from the pores of the body of Mahavishnu. And each of these universes is a complete system. And then within those universes, there are many planets, and those planets also, they relate to each other as a complete system. And Prabhupada talks about the planet Earth and the eco-balance of the Earth, how Krishna stores water on Earth by putting salt in it. Like water, if you leave it too long, it'll go stale. But it can be preserved, different things can be preserved with salt. And so Krishna, he has salt in the water to keep it preserved there nicely in the oceans. We read about other planets having other types of oceans. There's an ocean of milk and there's an ocean of oil. And in our minds, we think, well, how would that work? Like ocean of milk, wouldn't it go stale or wouldn't it go off after a few days?
Right.
But surely Krishna has some mechanism there as well to preserve that milk. And somewhere else he has a mechanism to preserve the oil, because oil can also go bad. And so Krishna has made complete systems all across this universe. And Prabhupada talks about how Krishna, he preserves the water as the salt, but then we cannot pour salt water on our crops. They'll die they'll be burned by they will not survive that. So what Krishna does is he evaporates the water out of the salt, and we get clear rainwater, or clear evaporated water. Then he transports it in the form of clouds over the plains, and then the clouds delivered on top of the mountains, where it gets stored as ice. And then in the summer, that ice melts, and then it trickles down from the mountains through the plains, and they irrigate all the fields, and they bring nice irrigation, which then allows for the cultivation of food grains, which then can support human society. And those grains should also be offered and sacrificed. But Prabhupada gives that as an example, and it's very beautiful. He says Krishna doesn't need pipes to make the system work. He has his own almost magical, mystical systems of floating the water in the sky, preserving it on mountain peaks, and then using the gravity of the mountains to then bring it down and spread it across as irrigation across the fields. A wonderful system that Krishna has. And like this, he has so many systems organized. Our bodies also are a system. And despite all of this expansion and completeness, Krishna himself remains complete and of himself. The next verse says that we should all, that we are all owned and controlled by Krishna. Everything is owned by Krishna. We should take what is ours as a quota. In his commentary, Prabhupada says every species has its quota. The cow has its quota to eat grass. The deer has its quota for eating grass, and the horse. And then the tiger has a quota that is meat. So the tiger can go and hunt. It has the claws and the fangs to do that. What about humans? How do we understand our quota? He says it's given to us in Shastra. Varna and Ashrama, Dharma says that for the Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas, there are different quotas. And for the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra as well, there are different quotas. And so if you live according to this quota, understanding that it belongs to Krishna and offering it back to him, then knowing that it belongs to him, then that is the proper way to live. The next verse says, if you live in this way, you can aspire to live for hundreds of years, and you will not get any negative karma. No karma will bind you if you're offering everything to Krishna. On the other hand, verse 3 says, if you don't live in this way, then you will be forced into the lower regions, lower species as well, where there is darkness and where we don't have free will. We don't have volition. We're not able to make choices anymore. We just have to act out what quotas material nature gives us. And material nature will say, horse, have grass. Tiger, you can have flesh. And we have no choice in the matter. We just eat the menu that is put before us. But as humans, we have options. And because of those options, then there are consequences as well. Verse 3 describes somebody who's misusing those options or that free will as atmahana, one who has killed their soul, because they've killed their opportunity for cultivating Krishna bhakti. And so we should keep all of this in context of the final verses as well, right? So that's the soul who's choosing to serve Krishna. There is no karma. There is no reason to be born again in the material world when a person lives a life of devotion and is offering everything to Krishna, as your family do. Now it describes Krishna. Krishna is full of paradoxes. Although fixed in his abode, the Supreme Lord is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others in running. So he's fixed, but he also moves very quickly. Although in one place, he controls all of those who supply the air and the rain. And then 5 is very, very beautiful. It describes that Krishna goes and does not go. He walks and does not walk. He's far away. He's also near. He's within everything and he's outside of everything. And so Prabhupada talks about this, particularly the last. He says how Krishna is far away in Goloka Vrindavan, but he's also within the heart of every living being at the same time. So he's not bound by our limiting, the conventions that bind us, the laws of physics that binds us. Krishna transcends everything. And in that way, he transcends limitations and he is full of paradox. Going and not going, being in one place, but also somewhere else.
Sorry. Asta, mute the other one. Okay, she did it already.
Okay, thanks. Oh, okay, Asta is in charge of the gathering here. Okay.
He's the host right now.
Right, okay. Okay, then 6. Somebody who sees everything in relation to Krishna, sees all living beings as his parts and parts, and sees the Supreme Lord in everything, will never hate anyone or any being. This is wonderful. This is the attitude of the Vaishnava. The Vaishnava has respect for every living entity and has respect for everything because they belong to Krishna and because they are part of Krishna. 7, one who sees all living beings as sparks in quality one with Krishna as a true knower of things. What can be anxiety for them? What can be illusion for them? If we're seeing everything as belonging to Krishna and part of Krishna, and we're respecting everyone and everything, there's no cause for anxiety. Such a person will certainly know Krishna, the greatest of all, who does not have a material form, he was not bound by the material nature. Verse 8. Verse 9, if you engage in this bhakti culture, this culture of devotion, okay, sorry, 9. If you don't engage in this bhakti culture, but rather you engage in a culture of nescience, that is materialism, then you will be forced into ignorance. We're still those engaged in so-called knowledge. That is, they think they're wise, but they're not accepting Vedic authority. Chapter 10, describing our choices. One result is achieved by a culture of knowledge. A different result is achieved by a culture of materialism or a culture of nescience. So once again, thinking of it in the context of your family. One result will be achieved by the life they have led. And it should not be compared to that of common people who are living a materialistic life. They will get a very different result. There will be a very different destination for them. Text 11 says we need to learn nescience and transcendence together, because then we can discriminate, we can be discerning. So vidyamcha avidyamcha yastad vedo bayham saha. One who understands what is vidya and what is avidya will be able to live the right way and achieve, well, one who does this, they can transcend repeated birth and death, and they can achieve the full blessings of amrita, vidyamrita, vidyayamritam asnute. They can achieve the full blessings of immortality. They can enter into Goloka Vrindavan, they can enter Vaikuntha, where there is no repeated birth and death, where there is no anxiety. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who comes to me never comes back, never takes another birth again in this material world. So that is the destination. 14, one should know perfectly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, his transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes, and should know the difference between Krishna and the temporary world with its temporary demigods, animals. One who knows this will surpass death and will surpass the material world, and they will achieve the eternal kingdom of God and enjoy eternal life of bliss and knowledge. So once again, you can have that assurance that living in this way, there is no birth again in the material world. Death has been surpassed. The material world has been surpassed. 15 is beautiful. Oh my Lord, Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukham. My Lord, whose effulgence is brilliant, is dazzling. Oh my Lord, your face is covered. Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Pihitam Mukham. My Lord, your face is covered by this Hiranya, this golden, brilliant, dazzling effulgence. And the devotees says, my Lord, please remove it. Let me see you. I want to see your beautiful face. Please reveal yourself to your devotee. So wonderful. And this is that prayer of the devotee who's departing from this world. Please remove your dazzling effulgence. Let me see your form. You have a form. And this is a nice Upanishadic reference for the form of the Lord, because generally the Upanishads, they're describing more abstract. They describe the Lord in more abstract ways. Tadejati, tanajati. He goes, doesn't go, he's everywhere, he's one place. So it's confusing to make that point that he transcends. But rarely does the Upanishad describe the personality of Godhead. But here we have a nice reference that beyond the Brahman, there is the personality of Godhead. Beyond the dazzling effulgence of Brahman, that is generally the focus for Upanishads. The Lord has a personality. He has a form, he has qualities, he has pastimes, and that personality of Godhead, you can have a relationship with him. He's not a formless energy, he's a person, he's the supreme person. And if you have made sacrifice for him, if you have chanted his name, if you have endeavored to offer a life to him, any person will acknowledge this. Any person will recognize that. And so you can count the devotee here as saying, please remove that effulgence. I want to see your personality. I want to see you as a person, because I want you to recognize me and to recognize that I have tried, that I have made an effort. And so verse 16, oh my Lord, primeval philosopher, maintainer of the universe, destination of pure devotees. Very important, very pertinent here. Well-wisher of progenitors of mankind, please remove your effulgence again. He's making that request again. Please remove your effulgence of transcendental rays so I can see your form of bliss. You are the eternal, supreme personality of Godhead. Like unto the Son as am I. Like unto the Son, that is transcendental, as am I. That is, you are a personality, I am also a personality. You are Satchidananda, I am also Satchidananda. But Krishna, of course, is the supreme source, and we are the parts and parcels. And so the request here is that I will be, let me come to you as your part, as a drop, will be as a let me come back to you as your part and parcel. But again, this emphasis on personality. You are a well-wisher. You are the destination of devotees. You are the well-wisher of those who have come from you. Then 17, very sobering for all of us. Let this temporary body be burned to ashes. Let the air of life be merged into the totality of air. That is, this temporary body of ours, we will need to leave it. It is a temporary place, temporary covering of the body, and we will need to let it go at some point. And the devotee here is making that prayer. This body of earth, water, fire, air, ether, it is made of material elements. And so let it return to the elements. And this very nice prayer, Om Krato Smarakritam Smara, Om Krato Smarakritam Smara. My Lord, please remember all my sacrifices. Please remember all that I have done for you. Because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember my services. Ultimate beneficiary, what does this mean? That in this world, someone might give you something. Someone might give you a gift, and you feel grateful to them. Somebody might pray to demigods and receive some gift, and that person may feel some obligation to demigods. But the word here, the phrase here is ultimate beneficiary. That means all of those gifts have actually come from Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate blessing giver, the ultimate beneficiary. Anyone else who can make gifts, they can only do it because Krishna has empowered them to do so. And so now the devotee is saying to Krishna, I know you give gifts. Now I want you to give me a gift. You're always giving gifts. You give gifts to everybody. Anyone who receives a gift from anyone, that is your gift. And now I want you to remember me and also give me a gift. Let me come to you. And also remember that I have also tried to make some gifts to you. Remember all that I have done for you. Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara. Remember me. Remember what I've also done for you. I know you're the ultimate gift giver. So please give me the gift that you can bring me to you. Finally, 18. O my Lord, powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all I have done in the past, please free me from the reactions of my past sins so that there will be no hindrance to my progress. This is a final plea of the devotee. Yes, I've tried to live the right way. I've tried to understand what is my quota. I tried to live in that way that brings um, one to you. But I've made mistakes inevitably as well. Along the way, certainly mistakes would have been made. And so I'm asking you to overlook that and help me in this moment. Help guide my soul that I will be brought to you. You know all that I've done, my good and my bad, my right and my wrong. But you'll also know that I have tried, and I have been sincere at different times. And so I ask you to overlook, to resolve the mistakes that I've made, and to ensure that there will be no hindrance to my progress. So a wonderful prayer that should give us all assurance in a very sad and troubling time. And I am most enlivened that you told me that, was it Ganashyam who asked to have this read?
No, one of my brother, like
Oh, one of
another
the brothers
brother who is
wanted to read it. Okay.
Manish Bhai. He's
Okay.
at the office right now. He has joined us also. So he
Okay.
wanted to read Ishopanishad, and he was
Okay.
asking from me that because our mother tongue is Gujarati, so he wanted to see
Right.
the it is Gujarati version,
Right.
and I couldn't find the book, but he had a desire of
Okay. Yeah.
reading
So
it.
yeah, I'm very heartened that you had this desire, and that somehow Krishna inspired me, that I wanted to share this with you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you
Prabhu,
so
my father and mother, they used to chant this every day.
Oh,
My
really? Okay.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
it
Okay.
is one of
Wonderful.
their routines. So no, thank you.
Some of
And
the verses we
this is really
know, like just say.
so much. I mean, appropriate and timely. I
Yeah.
mean, if you know the circumstances around my father left, probably this would be more relevant. You know,
Mm.
he was all right on the Tuesday night. It was Hanuman Jayanti in New York, so we
Mm.
read Sundarkand. We
Mm.
finished almost, but then everybody was tired. So around 10:30, we went for rest. And then my father said, I have a chest pain and it's not getting better. So after
Mm.
about half hour, 1 hour, he said, okay, take me to the hospital. Yes.
Mm.
No. So finally we went to the hospital. We had all the tests done over there. 1 o'clock, they released us from the emergency room because
Mm.
all the tests were negative. So
Mm.
we brought him home. On the way, he heard Lakshmi Narsi Stotra, which is given to him by his father,
Mm.
and he he always, I mean, told us that we should remember this and we should chant every day. So he
Mm.
heard the Lakshmi Narsi Stotra and he heard the Narayan Kavach. So
Mm.
and then um, on the way he kind of he kind of bent on one side, but we didn't know. Now we can correlate it what might have happened. So
Mm.
when after coming from the car, going to his room is about 50-60 feet. So he walked that 50-60 feet with the help of walker, and then when he lay down in the bed, he immediately collapsed. So I called on my brothers. We did a CPR over there, and then we called the ambulance and we brought him back to the hospital. So
Mm.
this time it was like around 2 o'clock in the morning. We brought him back to 2:30, and then now everything was dropping. The blood pressure, the heart rate, the oxygen saturation, and doctors were doing their part. They're giving all medicines, and at some point they start giving the bag and mask, and then
Mm.
at some point the heart rate was so low or there was no heart rate, so I started CPR there. I was chanting with him, I was talking to him all along,
Mm.
and then he expressed me that he's going to die now.
Mm.
So he told me 2 times. So I don't know what to say. So I mean, and he before half an hour he said that okay, let's go home. We were thinking that if we would not have walked him and we would have used the wheelchair, he should have been all right. So he said,
Mm.
okay, now this time we'll get the wheelchair. And I said, yes, let's go get the wheelchair. But then his condition, vitals were so unstable, so there was no way we can take him home. But he was speaking like as always. So I
Mm.
mean, the same strong voice and very clear voice and very
Mm.
so we had few more conversation, and then Then they had to intubate him because we were not able to keep the heart rate up. I mean, at this point, it looked like we should have not gone for the intubation and the further treatment. But we thought that he was all right before a couple of hours. So we possibly could reverse it, or we possibly could get some more time. And after the intubation, the cardiologist suggested that we should do the emergency cath, even though it's very guarded. But because there's a possibility if he removes the block from the coronary arteries, which is most likely there, then his heart could start functioning back again. And at that moment, we had no choice. But I mean, we could have said no, and he would have collapsed with us. And I mean, in hindsight, that looks better, that he should not have any tube, and he should have been, I mean, he should have let gone without all these tubes and the veins and IVs and all those things. But we thought, okay, let's do whatever we can do. And then they said, you guys won't be able to come into the cath lab because you possibly could have corona infection. And they show also that how we were, I mean, aggressive in terms of giving the CPR. So they thought we probably would not let him go easily or whatever. I mean, that was one of our friend. So he took him inside and he did the cath. And that was like 5:40. So until then I was chanting with him and he was hearing, and he wasn't sedated. So I'm sure he was hearing. And they took him for that. And then 5:40, and the doctor calls us up after half an hour that he was improving. But then again, he deteriorated. They did one more procedure into the aorta to help. I mean, if the heart starts functioning better, but it didn't work. And then the doctor finally said, how long you want to continue CPR? We are still under me and my brother Manish, we still not, probably Manish already realized that, but he didn't share it. But we thought, no, please try whatever is possible. We don't want to give him, if he is alive, we don't want to stop the resuscitation. So then he called us after a few minutes and they said, I want you guys to come inside. And at that time, he was already gone. So he left between 5:40 and 7:20 or 7:30 somewhere, maybe 10 minutes earlier. That doctor didn't tell us or whatnot. But we felt so much kind of, I mean, our heart shattered so terribly because that we didn't give him the last couple of hours, the farewell that we should have given. Otherwise, we should have listened then when he was saying, and then we should have kind of asked him that, what do you want now? Yes, you are right. Probably this is the last few hours or few minutes. What do you want? And he might have, if we would have followed that moment, would have been much better. But now when we read this, it really makes so much sense that in that helplessness, he must have cried for the Lord. Because, I mean, over the last 1 year, he was detached from everybody but me. We were so connected and we were reading together and we spent every day like 4, 5, 6 hours together, 3 in the morning, 3 in the evening, reading and chanting. So, I mean, I was kind of his, dependable force that he can always rely on me, and he could be always next to me. But then I was also not there. So I'm sure he must have cried in that helpless moment. So this is very relevant, that how this devotee who is leaving the body and he's crying for the help. And so, no, thank you so much. So
if you everybody's permission, I want to add something from
Sure.
What my brother said. So like I think he missed one part also, that the doctor who was there present in the emergency room, he took care for him, my father before also 10 years back, he did same procedure, like he coded, my father coded, the medical terms, coded at that time, and he was the one who brought him back. So like after coming back, my father said to him, like they speak same language. Doctor is also Gujarati. So he said like somebody was pulling me and you were bringing me back.
Okay.
And then somehow I came back. So he was thanking, just like everybody, he was thanking as a Vaishnava attitude. He was thanking, and the guy, I mean, he's also Vaishnava, but he's not an ISKCON guy. So Pushti Margya Vaishnava. He was also same time right now. And he, I mean, my brothers were not sure. So he told my brothers told him, like, if something happened, you will chant the Hare Krishna mantra. He told last minute him also Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But he knew that mantra, so he said, I will try, and I will, because I'm doing procedure, I have to concentrate, but I will try. So after this thing happened, in he was talking to my brother Manish that when your father left this time, he was not fighting, nothing, peaceful. Like he was living, and then like 90%, you two guys told me, but 90% of time I was chanting the name like all the time. I could not, because of I'd have to do the procedure. I could not concentrate all the time. So but most 90% of the time I was chanting the mantra that you gave, and last minute when I saw I thought he's looking at me, but he was looking with like very very like such a like good face. He was looking, and then like eyes were open, and he left the body.
Okay.
That's what he described. And then I was like remorseful, like I never saw him in entire this conversation because I was sleeping. So both the times, like when he went in the second time in the ambulance, I was only because of Corona thing. He was in the ambulance. He was fighting. I mean, little raised white. He was talking to the lady who was strapping him. So, but they didn't let me go inside because they all were protected,
Worried about
protected,
Corona.
right? Protected. So they all were worried about Corona. So, so I couldn't see him, right? Like I couldn't see him, and from that point on, and I'm also doctor, so I would have definitely told, let's go. I mean, I don't know. I would have definitely like this is enough. I mean, when they came home, also I told like even though everybody was in a shock, I was little. I think if they, I was telling my father's time already came. He was not able to do the service, and he already like he was seeing the death, and time was there to for him to live. He was enjoying our company, but he was not preaching anymore, right? So he wanted to live anyway. So but the point was then like we had so many like we are requesting what happened, but so we so many evidence. Like I went to the like after 2 days we had got the dead body. Like I mean he's a mortal body, right? So we went over there, and he's like, you know, the rigor mortis also, right? So his fingers were like in a chanting position, and it was wherever you put it will come over like that, because rigor mortis like that.
Okay.
Like his one finger like straight like that,
like this.
and then the
So
like
Yeah,
so like because we were in our prayers, like whatever, we are not devotees, in our prayer whatever we were telling, we are complaining Krishna, right? Without putting the faith. Like we read everything, we heard everything from you guys, like all Krishna's messenger, but we were not like we should be like, really it should be solacing to us, right? Like the whatever destination my father is out, we are like doubting Krishna in every prayer, we were doubting Krishna, right? So like he's so merciful, he's sending us evidence. Like he like, what if I come with your father to your house? Like those are the evidences he was giving, right? Like he's giving evidence. Like my brother with Pyare Mohan Prabhu, like he has one incident. He gave me the also indication, and I was like, I inside me feeling like I can cry hours and hours for what I did to him, but I was feeling really, really very happy also, right? I don't know why, but I was feeling really happy that he is already has in the input. I mean, he has so much pious activity. Is my father. I cannot glorify him that he can deliver all of us, like our brother also. And then that kind of thing was, and my brother has said he was most closest to him, but I somehow I'm thinking that he still think I'm like he feels me also closer, right? So he's still not living me, right? Like he's still not living me, and I'm talking about him, right? So I thought like he's more closer to me, right? Like I mean, he will feel very bad, but he's very closer to me. Prabhu, just let you know that.
Thank you. One reflection that's come to my mind, or do you want to add something, Prabhu?
No, Prabhu, I wanted to talk about last two verses of Ishopnishat, but please go ahead. We can talk. I mean, if you have time.
When you were describing this, that you're feeling that he was alone in that last period, I'm reminded of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's going to Vrindavan. And initially, Well, he wanted to go for a long time. He tried at different times. First time after sannyas, he's trying to go to Vrindavan, and Nityananda Prabhu he goes before his path and tells the villagers, when a sannyasi comes here and asks the direction to Vrindavan, you send him to Shantipur. So he was obstructed that first time. And then his mother said to him, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that I don't want you to go to Vrindavan and base yourself there because it's very far away. You please instead base yourself in Puri. Okay, so Mahaprabhu goes to Puri. But in Puri, after some time, he wants to go to Vrindavan. And so he takes permission from the devotees, Sarvabhauma and Ramananda Rai, and they have already discussed with Prataparudra, when Lord Chaitanya wants to go to Vrindavan, you try to keep him here. So every time he tries to leave, they make some reason. Oh no, devotees will now come for Rath Yatra, after Rath Yatra. Rath Yatra finishes and they say, well, now there will be Chaturmasya, 4 months of the rainy season, better you go after that. Always they give some reason and they delay. And after some time, Mahaprabhu says, okay, no more tricks. I know you've been tricking me. I really want to go to Vrindavan. He says, I have, he'll go by Bengal. He said, I have 2 shelters, my mother and Mother Ganga. So I will go to Bengal and see these 2 shelters, take their permission and blessings, and then I will go on to Vrindavan. And so he tried that. He went to Bengal, well, the Gauda Mandala, and he stayed different devotees' homes, Srivas and others, Advaita Prabhu. Then he visited, and wherever he went, there were thousands of people following him. And he would engage them in chanting the holy names. He went and he met secretly with Rupa and Sanatan. They were in the government of Nawab Hussain Shah. And he accepted them as disciples. He called them Rupa and Sanatan. They were Dabir Kash and Shakara Malik. And very interesting how Sanatan, because he's a prime minister, so he has a very strategic mind as well. And he said, it's better that you do not stay here in Bengal because the king is asking about you. And right now he's tolerant and he's respectful, but you cannot trust politicians. So it can change very quickly. If he thinks of you as a threat to the Muslim rule and you have all these followers, it can be dangerous. But then Sanatan says something else. He says, well, I don't think you should go to Vrindavan with all these followers either. All these thousands of people who are following you wherever you go. That's not the way to go to Vrindavan. Vrindavan, you should go alone. Vrindavan, entering into Vrindavan is a very confidential thing. It is an affair of the heart. And that, yeah, it's something that you will do in a solitary way. And Lord Chaitanya thought about this and agreed that that is right. I shouldn't go to Vrindavan with all of this fanfare and all these followers. It's something very confidential and very personal. And so instead he went back to Puri, and then he left more or less secretly. Some devotees knew, and so he took their permission, and they asked that somebody else travel with him, Balabhadra Bhattacharya travel with him. But the principle of it was that Lord Chaitanya is going to make this journey, and it is something very internal. It's a very internal journey that he was going to make. Entry into Vrindavan is a confidential internal process. And so with your father, you have been serving him all these years, and he's been supporting you all these years, and there are these relationships, and there is also this familial attachment. And maybe for these last hours, and there's also an arrangement by Krishna. He wouldn't have said it because he wouldn't have said it, but Krishna has arranged it, that these last hours he will also be alone, and he'll make this journey alone, because it's something that entry into Vrindavan is a confidential, personal thing. And so it's very possible that Krishna has made that arrangement for him, that he can make that transition without that familial attachment as well. Maybe that's also what Krishna wanted there in that situation. So you can also accept it as Krishna's will,
Yes.
not something that you'll feel guilty about or remorseful, or that you could serve him all these years, and then the final moments he's taken and he'll pass without you. But also it's in our tradition that final journey is a personal thing, a personal journey that one will make on their own as well. And it's very possible that Krishna has given him that opportunity to make that last step.
Yes, Prabhu. Very well. And Krishna wanted to slash my pride also. Who are you? Who are you, fool? Why do you think? Why do I need your help or agency? I can take care of my devotees. And then he was giving me kind of because I was so. I mean, Prabhu, first 2 days I was crying so badly. So in that moment, Krishna is telling me that you have faith in that those my words that antakale, that if somebody, but then why don't you have faith in my other words? Kaunte pratijani. When you, why would you trust only one? Why would you be so selective? If I am not true, I am not true. What does it matter? You do with the dol nagara and you chant. If my words are true, my words are true. So and then he wanted to tell me that my father went on his own merit, not by his sons helping him. No, he need not that elevator or help or boost at the last time to someone to remind him. And that chanting mudra really convinced us that he was chanting. And all of you devotees kind of like telling us. So Krishna is even forced to do that, even if he hasn't done that now, because his devotees are saying all the time. So he is saying, why these guys are calling all the devotees and and making them say again and again. So that, so we are fully, I mean, he had made until the last moment. He kept trying for all of us, in a very personal, individual way, that whatever was, I mean, obstructing our spiritual kind of a path. And he kind of gives some of us very heavy lesson, some of us like a kind of a slight within the last week or so. And I mean, we can talk on and on, but that we can see that it was clearly helping us to go us up on the, I mean, our spiritual journey ahead. I mean, so and actually all these things has ignited the spiritual spark in us. And then we are praying that this shouldn't be a smashan vairagya, but it should be an ongoing process, that that we want to live up to his expectations and his standards that he has created and maintained.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you. What did you want to add?
No, Prabhu, I just wanted to share that if we read just the translation of the last two verses, we almost feel like the devotee is feeling pride or going on his own merit, like, well, look what I have done and you better reciprocate. But the words that you chose was so nicely explaining them, that the devotee is saying that I have tried and I have done what you know, because you are in my heart and you are always with me, that you know what I have done so far. So I can speak for myself that when reading these two verses, it feels like I'm feeling so short and I really cannot say that, see what I have done, Krishna, look what I have done, So I'm feeling so short and so much into, like, I really cannot even show him my face at this moment. So it's kind of a alarming bell for myself, that last moment you'll have to face him. And
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for offering that. It's a nice perspective as well. What have we done? We think we've done something for Krishna, but like we think we do Krishna a favor by having an altar for him in our house. But actually the greater favor is from Krishna's side, that he's agreed to come to our house, because it's like you wouldn't expect to find somebody like him in a place like where we live. But he's so kind that he agrees. And you think in every house where there are Vaishnavas, some houses are tiny, some of them are grand, but in this material world, there's nothing that compares to what, Krishna is used to, his comfort in the spiritual world. But he's agreeing to come to our house, and sit on our altar. And we do some favor. We offer some agarbatti and think we're doing some favor for Krishna. But actually the favor is on our side. Nonetheless, Krishna appreciates. And that's his kindness. So even though we haven't done anything really, he's so kind that he actually takes it as something of value.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I think they got disconnected.
Yeah, it appears so.
don't, yeah.
I'm sure they'll come back
Yeah, they should be back.
So Ashta, you live in Gujarat. Somehow I thought you lived in, because I remember meeting you in the US, right? At Sadhu Sangha, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like they're back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we still can't see you, but we can see that you have returned. Oh, there you are. Yeah, okay. So I was saying, yeah, we think we do Krishna a favor, but Krishna is so kind that actually he does take it as a favor, even though we do nothing. In the Gita, he says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam, offer me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water. What's a leaf? Someone gave you a leaf. And it's nothing. But Krishna actually takes it as something. He recognizes, wow, that person has offered me a leaf. Where did you even get the leaf? It's his, it's Krishna's. It's like a child takes some money from your wallet and then gives it to you and says, Papa, here's a gift. It's not even yours to give me. But Krishna is appreciating. He says, oh, like a father might, like a parent might. Oh, that's so kind of you. You gave me my money. And so, yeah, there's nothing we can do really. All we can do is just make some effort. And then even that we can show to Krishna. Krishna, I've done nothing really, but at least I've tried. And please recognize that. Yes, it was your leaf, it was your flower, it was your water. It was your energy all along. And yes, so much of the time I was distracted by the material, but I did try. So please take that into account now in this moment. But very nice reflection that you've also offered, that this can also be a wake-up call for us when it does come to that moment when you say, Krishna, please remember what I've done, that you can actually say, I did try this and I tried that and I tried something else, and you have something that you can refer to, even if it's insignificant in the greater scheme of things. So thank you all for this opportunity to connect with. Thank you for reaching out. And I wasn't aware of this until I received your message. So thank you for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to share this moment with you, and to be part of your remembrance of your family members and this commemoration that you're doing in their honor, and this concentrated sadhana that you're doing over these days. Yeah, thank you for reaching out and inviting me to participate and contribute. I feel closer to you in this moment. I feel like I've shared something like together. We've shared something together, and that I'm grateful that I could be with you in this moment. And you can know that you're often in my mind, and I often think of you and have goodwill towards you and good feeling towards you. You're in my prayers. And so I was sad when I heard the news. I remember, my mind went to Sadhu Sangha, sitting with your father in the hall, sitting next to him in a chair and talking with him, but just sitting with him and hearing the kirtan as well and participating in the kirtan. And so it was always very joyful. He always had a kind word to offer, a story to share. Yeah. And so it was very, very sad to hear the news, but grateful that you reached out to me and gave me the opportunity to share this with you and to try to contribute something as well. And I'm glad that Krishna inspired me to contribute something that was on your minds and something that was also dear to your father, that he would chant his Upanishad every day. That's amazing. So there's I feel like some divine arrangement as well. Some divine guidance has happened here.
We had been doing the Lakshmi Narasimha Stotra and other things that one book is produced with Gujarati bhajans and all. So we did all of that, but Upanishad we haven't done it so far.
Right. Yeah.
Somehow inspired you to do that. What you're doing every single day.
Yeah.
So really thankful, Prabhu, for you to take your time out in your busy schedule, and very, very kind of you.
It's a privilege and an honor and a pleasure.
I want to request one more thing before you leave. Can we chant prayer together, please?
Sure. Which prayer did you ask for?
Narasimha prayer.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
I have a harmonium here, so I'll just grab my harmonium and I'll come back.
Awesome. 1 second. Yeah, please. Thank you. It will be a lag, otherwise I could have started the kartal or mridanga.
Right, no, it doesn't work.
A lag.
Unfortunately, we don't have the technology for that yet.
Not yet.
A few more years. I tried it about 10 years ago with some devotees to
teletransport.
Right. Oh, now this one. Namaste Narasingaya. Prahlad Hiranyakashi Vakshaha Hiranyakashi Vakshaha Ita Nrishinga, Parata Nrishinga, Ita Nrishinga, Parata Nrishinga, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nrishinga. Yato yato yami tato nishinga. Yato yato yami tato. By hand nishinga, Vidayen nishinga. By hand nishinga, Vidayen nishinga. I had a shinga, Virayen shinga. Shinga Madin Saranam Prapadye. Saranam Prapadye. Nara Shinga Madin Saranam Prapadye. Avakara Kamala Vare Nata Akuta Sringa Lalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanugringa Rishabhadrita Harahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Avakara Kama Hare Nata Bhakta Sringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Rishabhadisha Harahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Nrsingadev Jai Nrsingadev Nrsingadev Jai Nrsingadev Jai Nrsingadev Nrsingadev Jai Nrsingadev Jai Prahlad Maharaj Jai Prahlad Maharaj Jai Prahlad Maharaj Jai Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada 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 Bhakti Vigna Vinasa Narasingade Bhagavan Ki
Jai.
Prahlad Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.
So Prabhu, thank you again for spending time with us, giving us your association.
It's
Very kind of you. In a very short notice, you confirmed the time also. Thank you so much for everything. And almost every time I meet you or we are in person, I always remember one of the first times Indradumna Swami Maharaj came to US, and the kirtan at the Times Square was phenomenal. No kirtan like that I have ever experienced in my life. So thank you. Ever grateful to your association. Anytime back. Thank you.
And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thank you again for everything.
Harival.
Doshi Prabhupada. Jai.